This time, we really did think this deck was dead. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're taking a look at, that's right, Cyberse Slop. It's Maliss. It's Maliss again. It's always Maliss. It will always be Maliss. Here's the thing. Maliss is not dead. Not by a long shot. Because simply put, there's too much support in the game for Cyberse. And as it turns out, there are also Darks. Yeah, this deck's still very strong and it still does a lot. Here's the thing. Maliss has one of the strongest end boards in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's incredibly powerful, and it has the ability to do it off of pretty much anything and everything. It has a million extenders because of the millions of Cyberse cards that basically do all of the things that they need. On top of that, it also has some insane extra deck monsters to provide additional value. Things like Splash Mage, Link Decoder, etc. are extremely valuable monsters that allow you to kind of ignore a bunch of interactions. So even with the lack of consistency for specifically the Maliss monsters, you still have the ability to pretty much do the entire combo for the most part. Here's how. A GG. That's it. Yeah, this guy gets this one, which grabs any of the other Maliss monsters, which can then pivot into the full Maliss line, because yeah, there's a ton of ways to reborn the monster, or special summon it from hand, or whatever you choose. So for the most part, it's not exactly much of a change, though it is slightly weaker and a little bit more inconsistent. That's pretty much it. For the most part, I didn't see much of a difference between playing Maliss previously and now. Again, minor consistency hits. Let's go over the card by card and the explanations. Starting off with the Maliss cards, we are playing one apiece of White Rabbit, Chessy Cat, and Dormouse, as well as the 3 March Hare. This is one of the biggest changes, is that you're less likely to see March Hare in tandem with another Maliss card, so that is something of note. Then, of course, we are playing the other names, the Maliss in Underground, Maliss in the Mirror, and then one apiece of each of the traps. And that's it for the Maliss cards. We're also playing a bunch of Adagnisters. The Adagnister Achichi, we're playing 3 of this, as well as the backup Adagnister and the Wizard. Now, you might be wondering, because I've seen a ton of people playing this, why are we not playing Picari? Simple answer, Impulse. And also, this card's bad. Here's the thing. In order to play this, you have to play more inconsistency in your deck, right? Because you'd have to play like I Meet You, or you'd have to play something like the field spell or something of that nature, which is fine, but they get you into Adagnisters and not Maliss monsters. So sure, you could potentially put additional guys onto your field, but that doesn't matter. You need to put Maliss monsters onto the field. That's what we're aiming to get. The Maliss cards are what make the deck good, and what makes Cyberse good right now. Their end board is significantly more powerful because of the Maliss traps and the Maliss monsters. So that is what we're aiming to get to. So yes, you could do that. I feel like it's not worth it. We're just going to go for a Chi-Chi, go into a Link 1, utilize backup, and go from there. Anything else is just kind of additional dressing that you don't really need. That's pretty much it. Yeah. We're also playing, of course, a few Bestials, one apiece of Bestial, Magnuma, Druis, and Baldrake, and that is most of the engine pieces. We have things like Allure and Signet Mining in here, and Goldsark to help with that consistency as well, and that's pretty much it. The rest are hand traps, Maxi, Ash Blossom, Fualos, Nibiru. We're playing one of this for a cross-out target. We're also playing Called By, of course, and then 3 apiece of Imperm and Impulse. These are very useful, just in general. So yeah, of course. Also, this is one of the advantages to playing this deck in particular, is that, yeah, being able to play Impulse is very advantageous. It's very strong. That's it. As for the extra deck, we are playing 4 different Link 1s in Link Spider, Almirage, Lingaribo, and Decode. Honestly, I kind of wanted the second Lingaribo. I think it's probably better. But one of the advantages of both Almirage and Link Spider is that 4 different situations you can go into those instead. If you get Nibiru, you can go into that. If you get, if you like need to normal summon a hand trap, you can do that. So there's a bunch of instances where that's very useful. As for the Link 2s, we are playing Cyberse Wick Kid. We're also playing IP Masquerena, SP Little Knight, and Haggard, as well as, of course, the ban-worthy Splash Mage. And then for the Link 3s, we have Transcode Talker, which, reminder, this card can only be utilized if you've activated, or, sorry, you cannot have special summoned anything other than Cyberse monsters for you to activate the effect to Reborn, which I never had that issue come up. Nope, not once. We're also playing, of course, the White Binder and Hearts Cryptor. These are the main pieces of your combo. These are the core components. Hearts Cryptor is an insane boss monster that you absolutely need. So, yeah. And then we're also playing Firewall Dragon and the Code Talker at Ignister, as well as Access Code Talker. So, that's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replays to show you how this deck performs. Alrighty, here we are going first, and this is the power of a Chi-Chi. Right here, we have full combo because we drew the Chi-Chi, and then we have four, you know, some additional insurance, right? I couldn't think of the word. Outcomes Link Decoder. This is actually a mistake. I should just go Lingaribo here. Lingaribo specifically insulates you from Imperm, Impulse, etc. It's very useful, and generally speaking, that's what you're going to go into. This Link Decoder doesn't do anything here, but I summon it nonetheless. We're going to grab the Dormouse and then send it to the graveyard, and here we activate we go into the Haggard Lizardos. Yeah. So here's the thing. Haggard Lizardos is pretty good, but notably, it is not going to trigger the Link Decoder, nor is it. Now it's also going to cut us off of the Transcode Talker. However, it is still a good option to go into. It's just something to keep in mind. Now we have a few less options. We're going to go for the White Rabbit. White Rabbit effect is going to activate. We are going to set the GWC. Then we are going to link off into the White Binder, activate its effect in order to banish the Chi-Chi. I don't know. We're just banishing cards. I didn't need to activate that effect. We're going to set the TB11 for some reason. I don't know why the hell I set this. To be fair, this was the first game back from having not played Maliss in a long time, and the combo, like, consistently changed, so it was really difficult for me to remember what the hell I was supposed to do. So, oops, on my part. Regardless, we're going to draw an additional card here, draw into Impulse. Wow, crazy. We're going to go into Splash Mage. I'm literally just clicking buttons at this point, let's be honest. We're going to go into Transcode Talker, realize, oops, I can't do that. Bring back this guy, and then just go into Firewall, and, I don't know, pray? This was, like, really bad, again. So, whoopsie. It's fine. We still have the Bestial, so we can still kind of do stuff here. There you go. My opponent's going to reveal that they're on Blue Eyes. They activate the Wishes. I Ash Blossom them. They normal summon the Sage. Activate the effect in order to grab up the, what's it? Cool, sure. Activate Spirit. Grab up the Field Spell. Activate the effect of the Mausoleum. Normal summon Kaibaman, which is promptly negated by the Impulse. Notably, I have a Trap in the Grave, so it's going to be destroyed, which is pretty solid. They're going to send to the graveyard the Blue Eyes, and now we get to go for the Druid Worm here, which is not only going to banish their own cards from grave, but also draw us a card off of the effect of the White Binder, and have us be able to then go for the other Trap. Just kidding, I lied. For some reason, I banished White Rabbit. I played this, like, absolutely terribly, and it still just kind of doesn't matter. Out comes Tyrant. Sure, that doesn't matter. We're going to banish a few cards here. Activates the Dormouse, bring it back. They're going to go to combat. Of course, we're bouncing the Tyrant, and at this point, the opponent concedes, realizing the writing on the wall. Even though I played like garbage, it didn't matter, because, yeah, Maliss just generates that much advantage. Good game. Alrighty, here we are once again going first, and once again, the boy is in hand. But out comes Perulia. Kind of tragic. Now, I'm going to keep the Called By because I'm fairly certain that the Perulia is not going to be the only thing we're going to have to contest, so let's see what we can do here. We're going to start with the Dormouse, out comes the Fua, and bingo, bango, bongo, that's exactly what we wanted to see. Not really, that's exactly not what we wanted to see, but at the very least, I'm justified in holding the Called By. So, we're going to Called By the Fua loss there, and we will still be special summoning or normal summoning from hand, but at the very least, we can kind of get it. So, we're going to go for the White Rabbit into TB11, and then we're going to go for the Cyberse Wick Kid here. Now we go for the Wizard at Ignister in order to special summon it and to trigger the effect of the Cyberse Wick Kid, which is going to add the backup at Ignister. Now we are going to link off into Link Decoder, and then link off everything else into the White Binder. White Binder effect is going to banish their Perulia because it's funny, and then activate its effect in order to set the MTP. Out comes TB11 to grab up the Jessie Cat, Reborn the White Binder, draw into the Roach. Yeah, I love thinning my deck and then drawing into Roach. Fantastic. Reborn again, go into Transcode Talker. This time we can actually use its effect. Reborn the Link Decoder, bring back the White Binder, and then activate the Ignister. This gives them an additional draw, which is fine, because we are going to then surge out the March Hair. Out comes Hearts Cryptor, and then we are going to link off everything into the Ignister. Allied Code Talker at Ignister specifically. Now, this may have seemed strange. Why did we put this into the graveyard? Well, we have many ways of banishing it to put it into rotation. So that's the main idea behind that. We also can then you know, potentially utilize a White Binder activation as well to banish it. So there's a bunch of different ways for us to put this into rotation. And again, just having it in rotation is very solid. So that's kind of the idea behind that. A non-target banish is pretty solid. Outcome Super Poly, tragic. Also, it's Makonko. Yay! We all love Makonko, right? We love Go Second blind decks. Woo! Anyway, outcomes Arabesque. That's fine. Activate the effect. That's fine. Banish it. I'm gonna go for it. Sorry. I'm gonna go for the maxi. They shuffle back my allied Kotalker. That's fine. Again, non-target banishes here are going to be phenomenal. So let's see what my opponent is up to. They do reborn my Heart Scripter. Again, that's not actually that big of a deal, and you'll see why in a second. So first and foremost, we're going to go for our White Binder here. Activate the effect of the White Binder. Activate its effect. I do want to specifically banish the Sonki. They already reborned off of the Fire Dance. That's how they got the Heart Scripter onto the field. So this is more so to trigger my other effects, which is White Rabbit and Chessy Cat. So yeah, the White Rabbit here is going to allow us to banish the Heart Scripter and then reborn it. So that's the idea behind this. Notably, the only card that we have to do this with is GWC, because we've already used the other ones. But alas, we can still use it. So we're going to activate the GWC. Because we have to banish here, we do get to activate this. And then out comes Heart Scripter. Fantastic. We're going to activate the effect of the Heart Scripter and just banish a card. Gee, I wonder which one we're banishing. That's right, literally. Also, when did this get an animation? Like, I so rarely see this deck. I've seen it so much more in the Duelist Cup for some reason. Very silly. Anyway, my opponent is going to attempt to walk over my Heart Scripter, and I go, no, I don't want you to do that. So I just kill it instead. Anyway, they're going to attempt to activate the Arabesque that they've already activated. Realizing that, it doesn't do anything, they elect to concede. Good game. Turns out 2 non-target banishes. Very powerful. Alrighty, once again, we are going first, and wow, look at that hand. See, again, even though we are going first, this is still a very strong go second hand, right? Fuwalas Impulse, pretty strong, right? Anyway, regardless, we are going to immediately normal summon the Chessy Cat, banish the White Rabbit, draw 2. For some reason, I kind of understand the idea of not fully committing to the Max C, right? I don't always activate Max C in like draw phase or anything like that. I think that's a terrible idea. You know, you want to get that draw off of it. But allowing me to draw seems kind of silly. Because of course I drew into Ash Blossom. So yeah, no Max C for you. Anyway, we're gonna set another trap. We're gonna set the TB11. Out comes Lingaribo. This is very important because yeah, out comes our Adagnister. Imagine if they had, I don't know, Imperm or Impulse or something of that nature. Cool. We draw a card and immediately just send it. I want to keep the Impulse, obviously. That's cool. We're gonna now go into the White Binder effect. Also, absolutely should have put this over here so that we have more zones available to us. That's a mistake on my part. It's not gonna matter too much here, but yeah, I should. Regardless, we do go for the White Binder, and White Binder does allow us to banish both the Dormouse and the March Hare. Dormouse was gotten off of the TB11, and March Hare was pitched off of the Adagnister. So, we add both of those back, and now we can go for the Dormouse. I just banish a guy to get it out of rotation. And then we can go into we go into the trap card off of the White Binder, and then we also go for the, Link Decoder then. Activate the effect of the Link Decoder, bring itself back, go for the Transcode effect as well, bring that one back, and then go for the GWC, reborning an additional guy, and bringing back the White Binder. Here, I elect to go for a Heart Scripter as opposed to anything else, and then just go into the Firewall Dragon. Again, this may seem a bit strange, but it is specifically designed around Heart Scripter. Heart Scripter, I think, is absolutely insane, and having access to it is just insane value. Now, to be fair, what I could have done is just held the March Hare, and I don't know why I didn't. This is kind of silly on my part, but I should have just held the March Hare in hand for the opponent's turn. Turns out it was kind of pretty good because they're going to play a whole bunch in the draw phase, but alas, that's what I should have done. Out comes the Radiant Typhoon. I'm promptly going to negate the Crocia so that it doesn't hit the field. So, pop it. No. They're going to go for the Vararoon, and yeah, I don't care. Activate the effect of the Swen, then go for the Chant, go for the Eldam, grab up the other level 3. Into the Eidolon. Eidolon effect is going to activate, and I'm promptly going to activate my trap card, to which they have Purge, which is, yeah, I guess. The problem is that it doesn't matter. right? Knowing that they have MST and no targets with which to utilize the MST to trigger the myriad of effects, at this point we just kind of win, right? We start off with the hard scripter, which cannot be interacted with because of the stupid text that is on it, and then we also get to activate the Firewall Dragon and just bounce. Out comes Typhon. However, Purge dictates that it doesn't do anything, so yeah, they can't even activate it. They realize the writing on the wall and concede. Good game. Alrighty, once again we are going first because, let's be honest, most of the going second games were really boring. They're going to start off here with the Fua Lost. Now, here's the thing. You may think that our deck kind of dies to Fua Lost, but it actually doesn't. There's a lot that we can do with a minimum amount of summons, and we generate an immense amount of value off of the individual summons we get. So, pretty solid. Anyway, my opponent did activate an Imperm in response to the backup Agonister. This is why we go for the Lingaribo as well. So, there you go. Nonetheless, we get into our Dormouse. Dormouse is going to grab the White Rabbit. White Rabbit is going to then activate its effect to set the MTP. And then we are linking off all of those for the Hard Scripter. And just not going to pass. I lied to you. We're going to go for the Wizard here in order to go into IP. Yeah, that's what we're doing here, right? They activate another Fua Lost to, I don't know, hand loop themselves an additional time. I don't know what the point of that card was. There was very clearly nothing else that I was going... What else was I going to go for there? Let's be honest. I don't know. Maybe they thought I was going to, like, search and bring back and... yeah, I don't know what the purpose of that was. I'm not gonna lie. Regardless, out comes Psychic. I know, really crazy. Now, to be fair, as much as you may be like, oh, Maxi matters here. Maxi did not matter. I'm gonna tell you right now, this Maxi draws me nothing of value. It did not matter. It was never going to matter. Because here's the thing. I already have enough cards in hand or on field to where just, like, I remove the entire field from existence. I do draw the Ash here, which does cut off the Foxy tune, but I'm not going to lie, even if they were to summon a guy, it, again, wouldn't matter, because we just go MTP, we can go for the SP here to, like, banish. We're off to the races, right? We have a ton of options available to us, so, yeah, good game. Good game, once again. Congratulations. That being said, though, Maliss is also specifically designed to draw you into hand traps and to just see an insane amount of them. So it's not surprising that we ended up drawing into... Actually, we didn't draw into Maxi, but, you know, having it available to us, right? So, I don't know what to say. Also, ban Maxi. All right, we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck is still very powerful. The thing is, while yes, going second has gotten a little bit weaker, for the most part, not much has changed. It's just slotting in different Cyberse extenders. That's it. It pretty much plays the exact same. Signet mining is the same thing. Not a lot of people are playing Droll for some reason. I feel like Droll, I don't know. Maybe people are playing it, but I haven't seen it a whole lot, which is really shocking. But even with that being said, it doesn't really matter. Like, we could be playing Droll if we really wanted to. I just felt like there were better hand traps, right? So, I don't know. Very interesting deck, and yeah, it's still not dead. I genuinely, wholeheartedly believe that. I would put it in the top echelon of decks right now. Maybe not fully at the top with, like, Mitsu and Yummy and stuff like that, but definitely close to that, right? Like, a slight tier below, which is depressing. But again, Cyberse, what are you gonna do? There's no way to stop them unless you kill everything and anything. Specifically the extra deck, to be fair. Yeah, if you remove Splash Mage, I do think that this deck just, like, falls apart. Or if you remove Lingaribo. Honestly, this card probably is more damaging than Link Decoder is at this point. As much as Link Decoder is extremely valuable because of the just sheer quantity of bodies you get access to, having the ability to negate a trap card is wild. Just, here's a Link 1 that negates a trap. Cool! Yeah, why is that allowed? Anyway, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye!